Yeah, that's a great point. And as you're saying, it's one of those things that I just think if I think about the Fed, it's led to this massive concentration of wealth, and I think that's the challenge as well. It's something that you've talked about. It's sort of taken away from the average person, and this money printing, where is it all gone? It's gone to the top 10%. This massive concentration. So it seems to have led to the disparities we're seeing in society.
Yes, well, the kind of weird thing about our conversation on this is that all of this started where you are. It all started with the Bank of England. That was the pattern that the American bankers deliberately chose to imitate, was what the structure, what the structure was of the Bank of England. And it's not an awful lot different than in America, except the decorations around it. It's a group of private bankers in every country that decided to declare themselves to be central bankers, whatever that means. That means they're not really bankers. That means they're in the business of creating money in the name of the banks. And it means that they're a cartel too. But their structure, their minute structure, can be different from country to country as long as the fundamentals remain the same, because of the traditions of the country. But when you finally get past the traditions and the decorations, you find always that it's a group of private bankers that are controlling the supply of money for the nation. And they do so without many limitations at all. They just do it because they have been given the power to do it by the people who voted for them and supported them as they voted for certain pieces of legislation because they believed what they were told. The people have been told that this is good for them. This is what they've been waiting for. These are the people who have come to save them. This is going to solve their problems. And of course, they never do solve the problems, they make them worse. But the cycle goes over and over and over again. And it's still going on at high speed today.
Yeah. So do you think this trajectory is inevitable? That it's just going to keep getting worse or worse, or do you think there could be a way out of what's
No, I,
happening?
I definitely do not think it's inevitable. I'm not that kind of a thinker. I'm not stupid, I hope. I may be dumb, but I'm not stupid. I know that there are human beings doing this, and there are not too many of them. They're in high positions, and they kind of cluster together like birds of a feather. They know who each other are. Uh, they're not all one race. For example, a lot of people say, "Well, those are the Jews that are doing this because banking was started by Jews, and most of the important banks are run by Jews." Well, this is an observable history fact, but historical fact. But that doesn't mean, I mean, it's not the Jews, it's not the Italians, it's not the Catholics, it's not the whites, it's not the blacks. It's no particular genetic or bloodline or social. Social might be more true, but these are birds of a feather that flock together, and they all think alike, and they all practice and support the principle of collectivism in government. Collectivism in government is what we're really facing as the mechanism by which they can get away with this. If it weren't for the acceptance of this thing called collectivism as a good and wonderful thing, well, none of these, or very few of these things, could even happen because they all require huge amounts of money. That's how they get by with it. They can buy up people. And there's very few people that can't be bought up directly or indirectly by money, even the good people. Because I'll give you an example. Let's say you're a good congressman or a good MP, or you're a good representative in your government, and you're trying to do everything that's the right thing, and you're up against this huge criminal empire posing as your honorable governments or your bankers or whatever they're posing to be, and you're starting to tell the truth, and you're gaining some momentum, and they come to you and say, "You've got to stop if you value your position and your reputation." And you say, "Well, I don't care about my position, my reputation. I'm a man of principle." Well, you still got to stop, even though you're a man of principle, because if you don't, you're going to miss your family. It would be just a shame if something were to happen to them. And now you're listening, even though you're a man of great principle, you're listening. So then The people who arranged for that assassination do that because they have a lot of money. They can hire assassins and pay big prices to assassins. They don't come cheap. They come expensive, but they're very good at what they do. And when you have an unlimited amount of supply of money, you can hire assassins. You can hold out carrots and sticks to people. You can give people a guarantee of a lifetime job where they don't even have to go to work. They can just punch in now and then and pretend to be a member of a law firm, for example. They can have a desk and they can have a chauffeur. And as long as they just do what they're told not to do, and I mean, as long as they don't do what they're told not to do and play the game, and they can give speeches and they can condemn you and all that. They can condemn the bad guys. As long as they don't do anything about it, then they can live very high on the hog. You know, people will fall for this if the price is high enough. So this is a reality. And perhaps this isn't where you intended to go with this conversation, but I think it's important to know that the people of the world can change this, but first they have to understand what the rules are of the game. And the rules are that institutions, as they get larger and larger, become magnets to the predator class. By that I mean any institution that has access to a huge amount of money and a huge amount of influence over public opinion and activities of human beings, that is a magnet that attracts the predator class. All the crooks in the world would love to have a high position in those institutions because they can commit their crimes and look like they're being good guys. And if anybody wants to blow the whistle on them, they have the power to put those people, the whistleblowers, into prison, you see. So once you understand that, then it becomes sensible to realize how wise Thomas Jefferson was. Now, he's one of our national heroes, as you know, but I think everybody around the world could appreciate the wisdom of Thomas Jefferson. And the illustration, I think, will make this point clear. It's known because there's a copy of a handwritten exchange of letters between Jefferson and a friend of his, a doctor friend of his, shortly after the American Constitution was finalized and voted into existence. And he gets this letter from the doctor. The doctor said, Mr. Jefferson, now that we have this republic, and I think he used the word republic correctly in this case, how can we be sure that now we have only good men in office? Okay, there's the question. And Jefferson's response ought to be on everybody's bathroom mirror. He said, let us speak not of good men in office, rather, let us bind men down, all men down, with the chains of the Constitution. Put limitations on it. Tell them they cannot do this. Now, there you have the secret, you see. Now, in the modern vernacular, if we were to quote Thomas Jefferson, he would say, good men in office? Huh? Are you kidding? Because everybody knows that political office in particular is an attraction to crooks. And you just expect politicians to lie to you. You don't think they're a good politician if they don't. It's expected. It comes with the territory. And when you can accept lying on the part of your elected representatives, you say, well, that's just normal. That's okay. You've lost the war for liberty and truth and honesty and all these. You've lost the war. You've got to stand on principles. And so you've got to make sure that the system of government, as we like to call it, the state, is drafted in such a way that it makes it very explicit, not so much what government or what the officials of government can do, but very explicit about what they cannot do. It's more important to be clear on what they cannot do. And that way, of course, our 10 amendments to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, those are things that thou shalt nots, like the 10 Commandments. It's Congress shall pass no law respecting the right of peaceful assembly, right to bear arms, freedom of speech, and so forth. This wasn't a grant of power to government. This was putting the chains of the Constitution on government. And so therein lies the secret and the answer to your question. Can we get this, actually change this? And the answer is yes, But first comes an understanding, it must come first of the populations of the world, that you cannot trust any institution that has a lot of power and influence over people. You cannot just walk away and trust it to work by itself. You have to watch it like a dog, like a watchdog, because you know for certain that you know in advance that many people inside that institution will be working against your interest, regardless of what they say they're doing.